Imagine stepping outside and seeing your street vanish, not metaphorically, but literally swallowed whole, replaced by a roaring brown river that didn't exist this morning. That's not the plot of a disaster movie. That's Central Texas in mid-July 2025. One moment, you're sipping iced tea, and the next, you're on your roof waving at a helicopter, hoping someone sees you before your house becomes part of the debris floating downstream. What hit Texas wasn't just another summer storm. It was a beast, an unruly, sky-cracking, flood-making monster of a system that bulldozed through Lampasas County and beyond, turning familiar streets into mud-slick danger zones. In the blink of an eye, the Lampasas River didn't just rise, it erupted. From a modest 2-foot flow to a towering 30-foot frenzy of water in hours. That's not nature nudging you. That's nature yelling, "Get out of the way." Highway 183 turned into a slip and slide of doom. With cars tossed around like they were made of styrofoam, entire families scrambled to higher ground, some barely making it out. Others were forced to climb onto their roofs, hoping rescue boats or choppers could navigate the chaotic maze of submerged homes, flipped trailers, and smashed-up mailboxes. It wasn't just one town that got walloped. Emergency alerts exploded across Kerr, San Saba, Schleicher, and Sutton counties. The kind of alerts that make your stomach drop. Flash flood emergency. Evacuate now. Don't stop to pack the dog toys. People had minutes, maybe seconds, to grab their essentials and flee. For many in RV parks and mobile homes, there wasn't time for even that. Their homes were no match for the force of water that didn't knock politely. It just came crashing in, dragging everything with it. This wasn't water. This was fury made liquid, charged with tree limbs, broken glass, shredded insulation, memories, and chaos. And while all hell was breaking loose on the ground, rescue teams were flinging everything they had into the battle. Boats zigzagged between rooftops. Helicopters hovered like mechanical angels, lowering baskets to pluck people from watery prisons. Texas Task Force 1, local firefighters, wildlife officers, every able-bodied responder was out there, armed with flashlights, ropes, and grit. Some rescues were movie scene dramatic, cars submerged just as passengers were yanked out. Others were heartbreakingly quiet, people standing waist-deep in their living rooms, clutching soaked family photos, not sure whether to cry or laugh at the absurdity of it all. And the timing, oh, the timing was cruel. This came just 9 days after another deadly flood on July 4 had already rocked the region, killing over 100 people, while families were still mourning, still searching for the missing, still wringing rainwater from their lives. Round 2 showed up, louder, meaner, wetter. Talk about trauma with no breathing room. In some places, rainfall totals were downright ridiculous. 6 to 12 inches dumped like a broken faucet over the hill country. And the worst of it, it stalled right over Lampasas, like it had an agenda. Even seasoned emergency workers, people who've seen all manner of mayhem, called this one of the worst they'd ever faced. Evacuation orders went out like confetti, but some folks hesitated. It's human nature. You think maybe the forecast is wrong, maybe the creek won't rise this time. But hesitation in a flash flood is a dangerous gamble. By the time second thoughts turned into car keys turning in the ignition, many of the escape routes were already underwater. Officials repeated what's become a sort of tragic mantra: don't drive through flooded roads. It sounds simple, obvious, even, but when you're staring down a shallow stream that looks passable, it's easy to forget that 6 inches of fast water can knock you off your feet. And 2 feet can turn your car into a raft. Spoiler alert, cars make terrible boats. Kerr County had to halt its ongoing recovery from the earlier floods because this new one was just too big. Too dangerous. Imagine that. You're in the middle of a search for missing loved ones. And you have to stop. Again, because the sky decided to throw another tantrum. The emotional whiplash was almost worse than the physical devastation. Through all of it, through the sirens, the chaos, the panic, there were glimmers of something beautiful: humanity. People didn't wait for instructions. They loaded up trucks with water, food, blankets. Churches flung open the doors. Restaurants handed out meals. Teenagers who'd never lifted anything heavier than a phone were suddenly ferrying sandbags and helping strangers into boats. Social media turned from selfies and drama to real-time rescue coordination. It was like the internet grew a soul overnight. But make no mistake, what happened in Central Texas wasn't just bad luck. It's part of a broader, nastier trend. Scientists have been waving red flags about shifting weather patterns and more intense storms. And Texas seems to be on nature's speed dial lately. Rainfall like this, the kind that shows up fast, hits hard, and doesn't quit, is becoming less of an exception and more of a new normal. Preparedness used to sound like overkill, something for doomsday preppers and weather nerds. Not anymore. Emergency kits aren't a hobby now, they're survival. Water, food, meds, flashlights, batteries. It's not optional if you live anywhere remotely flood-prone. And signing up for local alerts. That could be the 10 seconds that save your life. As the water retreats and the sun comes out like it wasn't just playing havoc a day ago. The real slog begins. Mud-caked living rooms, mold climbing up the walls, cars found 3 blocks away from where they were parked, roads that need rebuilding, bridges that need inspecting, and a whole lot of insurance adjusters who are definitely not ready for what's coming their way. Emotionally, it'll take even longer to dry out. For some, home will never feel quite safe again, but the resilience, that quiet, stubborn, unmistakably Texan resolve, is already showing up. Neighbors lending power tools, strangers handing out towels, people with nothing left giving what little they have. And even though more rain is in the forecast, and yes, it is, residents are staying alert, keeping bags packed, listening to the skies a little differently. Because if this flood taught anything, it's that nature doesn't RSVP. It just shows up, and when it does, you'd better be ready. So no, this wasn't just a storm. It was a gut punch of reality, a reminder that climate, community, and courage are now forever linked. But if this disaster showed us the power of water, it also revealed something stronger, the power of people. Under pressure, in chaos, they rose, not because they had to, but because that's what humans do when everything else falls apart.